a catastrophical end to England's World Cup campaign. It is just really, really unfortunate. Is it Laura Bassett who was the unfortunate victim in this instance? An own goal to top all own goals. And as much as I dislike the men's English team when they come up for major tournaments because of the way the mainstream media paints them, I felt very sorry for this English and women's national team because this sport doesn't get enough recognition in the UK, women's football, women's soccer. But in this instance, I just felt that they played so well throughout the tournament. I held their efforts very high, and I felt that they pressed the ball very well. They really upped the pace throughout the competition, and they were unfortunate. And if you see there, it was devastating. The poor girl was absolutely distraught, and she had a fantastic game. She reads the game very well, and this was just an unfortunate error that led to them going out against Japan.
Yeah, Twitter reacted, and they gave her their hearts.
Yeah, I mean, you expect them to make fun of her, but they didn't.
Well, of course.
Some did.
It's the internet. We're going to make fun of everything.
Yeah.
Wait another day when this becomes like old news in the world of the internet, and we'll start sending out awful, hurtful memes.
Yeah.
Until then, our hearts do go out there because it's an own goal that cost you
the World Cup.
At least extra time and then penalties if they were to go to that. And interestingly enough, Laura Bassett, you see her reaction and you see England's team's reaction and how they played against Japan. And as you mentioned, Japan plays patient football according to sources, and they played their own game, and England played their own game, and it was working.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's been working well with them throughout this entirety of this World Cup. The worst part of everything, this is the first ever own goal in stoppage time in Women's World Cup history.
And it happened to that poor girl. And she's
not going to be remembered for anything else. Our memories are so short-sighted, especially in this country.
Yeah.
Maybe over in England too, because the media could paint things in.
One thing that I do like is The Guardian posted a video from the English coach, and he basically talked about how much he just was so proud of their efforts and proud of the country for getting behind England. But that's standard England. As soon as they seen that they started winning.
That's only the nice side of me, right?
Yeah.
Like, my heart goes out to her. The real side, you fucking blew it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody's afraid. I don't know why people were too afraid.
I don't know. That's a very.
It's a very
unfortunate error.
Yes, but you can't make that error. I know there's the acute pressure. I understand that you're trying to beeline for a ball and get it out, right? You fucked up. And look, I'll take all the flack in the world for saying it.
Flack, is that a word?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll take all the hate for it in the comment section. I'm fine with it. But the truth of the matter is, you messed up, and you cost your team. What's sad, though, is, and I wonder if this is, I shouldn't say sad, I wonder if this is true. If this was the men's team, what would the reaction be in England?
That's an interesting point, actually. Well, I think that, but one, they'd be happy that they made it to the semi-finals. And two, I think that, I don't know, I just think that those errors happen in both sides of the game.
Yeah,
this isn't just specific to women's soccer, but in this instance, maybe she could have covered ground a little bit more. She could have been in a better position so that she wasn't panicked, because she was panicked. She was sprinting full pelt to stop that cross.
Yeah, I know.
And it's just an unfortunate error. She stuck her leg out and it just bounced off the wrong way. I don't hold her fully accountable for that. I feel that the goalkeeper was not in the wrong either. She was trying to read the ball. She moved across, and it took a slight deflection. If it happened in the men's game, I still think that people would have felt sorry for them. If depending on the defender, if it was John Terry, they would have laughed.
I only asked that because there was a whole argument, some from the Guardian, some from BBC, where they were saying that if this were the men's team, this whole for whatever reason they're calling it like a sexist approach because they're being sympathetic, and they're calling it sexist because it's the England women's team opposed to the men's team, whereas the men's team would have taken more hate for it, and there would have been probably evil memes out there about it, but because it's the women's team, which again is so ridiculous.
But the thing is because if the men's team played as well as the women's team did, then they would have took that more sympathetic approach.
But
like
the men's team don't.
Yeah, exactly. And the errors that happen in the men's team, they're just like, all right, we deserve them. We make our own luck. We've not been the better team. Right. These things happen. But one thing that people did sympathise with, from an English standpoint, is that they're on the other end of an era which, if the goal line technology was in place back when they played against
It
Germany in
wouldn't have been a
2010. No, it might not have been a goal, but they faced the problem when Frank Lampard's shot was miles over the line, when they played pretty well against Germany, but then in the end they got demolished by them. So they feel like they're getting
by the
the
way,
rough end of the bargain.
credit where credit is due. If she was an attacking forward for the
That's
English
a
women,
fantastic
that's
finish.
a beautiful goal.
That's a beauty.
So here we have exactly what happened. As you can see, she was cutting down on the ball.
Yeah.
There on the left side picture, and then of course we don't have the video for you guys, but the picture will show you that she got a leg on it.
Sent the keeper right over. And when you look at the structure there, that's one thing from a footballing standpoint. Maybe she should have been a couple of yards ahead of the game, in line with the opposing attacker. They're not in line. They could have maybe played them offside, but who knows. And then following up from that, they have a great tweet, which someone posted throughout. Eurosport posted, poor Laura Bassett. These guys know how you feel. And of course, Paul Gascoigne crying his eyes out there in below. And I think I can't.
No excuse for those shorts.
No, those
left.
are the short. Those are what people wear to the beach now, though.
You
That's a fashion
can't. You
statement.
can't say anything.
I love short
You have
shorts.
jorts.
Short shorts are the best.
Do you prefer short shorts or jorts?
Do you ever hear that song? Who likes short shorts? I like short shorts. That's the song that's going to be played through the summer. All right, so as a result of this, we seem to be showing a lot of sympathy to the English women's team. What about Japan?
Not so much me.
Now we have a reenactment.
You're right. Japan played great.
But you can't take anything away from Japan. A good victory for them there. As you mentioned, that you summed it up, they've been very patient, and they are a hard team to break down. This is why they get to World Cup finals. They are on par with the US women's national team. If not, they are better than a lot of the teams they've played.
If not better than the US women's national team, but we'll see what happens later in the week, of course.
Once you get your Alex Morgan jersey, that'll be enough.
Or it's going to curse them for the rest of existence. Sorry. So, interesting quote from The Guardian, though. Japan's side defensively excellent. Samson's players persistently forced their opponents to construct their passing triangles down a series of blind alleys. Perhaps ironically, they came undone when the geometry-obsessed World Cup holders delivered a rare cross.
Yes.
In relation to that own goal.
And I think that the women's national team, English women's national team, last point on that is that they have a very similar approach to the men's football in England, is that they know when to force and they know when to allow people to play. Because if someone's moving the ball along their back line, you're not going to waste all your energy and go and try and force an error there. But if they get the ball into a tight, acute angle, that's when you press. That's when you get the triangle three, which I talk about Barcelona do so well. One presses, one's the cover, one's balance. Pressure, cover, balance, mark it down, remember it. But let's talk about who is going to be playing in the World Cup final.
So do you know who the real MVP is?
Who?
There's 4 for the U.S. women's national team.
5.
Well, I got to include Hope Solo, but they're back 4. Similar, I guess, in a way, don't call me crazy, to Germany's men's back 4 during their World Cup run. A stone wall. 513 minutes without conceding a goal.
That's phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. And you know, a lot of that's down to, and I'm going to say it, my girl.
Julie Johnston?
Julie Johnston. What a phenomenal player she is. I think she's only 21, 22, don't quote me on that, but she's very young. And she has been outstanding. The best thing I love about her is her anticipation. I talk about this with defenders. She doesn't dive in when she doesn't have to. I've seen some of the fullbacks from the US women's national team, especially against Germany in the last game, dive in needlessly, but she covers. She's a very good defender at reading the game. Reminds me a little bit of the Ricardo Carvalho style of defending, where you don't need to dive in, just draw yourself back, have them make the error, and then you go in and sweep up. And she's been doing that very well. But 513 minutes, that is a good amount of minutes spent keeping a clean sheet to go into the World Cup final.
In addition to Julie Johnston, it's Megan Klingenberg,
Yep.
Becky Sauerbrunn, and Ali Krieger, who are working alongside of her.
Hope Solo as well at the back, who's been instrumental.
She is the best
commanding.
goalkeeper in the world, and it might help a little bit to have probably some of the 4 best defenders.
What is it with you?
Defensemen, man, defensewomen.
What is it with you US national teams? How do you generate such good goalkeepers? Such good, crazy goalkeepers.
I mean, if Hope Solo grew a beard like that of Tim Howard.
Yeah, because Tim Howard, we know, is very vocal, and aside from
so is Hope Solo.
aside from his medical, the medical side of him, his Everton teammates talk about how he is just a very frightening character, which you have to be a good goalkeeper.
I was going to say, I'll put you between the posts, and we'll see what happens to your psyche.
And have you boot it? How do you say boot? Boot it.
Boot it?
You say it, you try to do it in your Scottish accent. It's awful.
Boot it. I didn't try it. I can't do it in the Scottish accent.
You've done it before.
I can't do it.
You're being camera shy. You're being camera shy. Anyway, what do you think about the women's national team in front against Japan? Do you think they're going to
root for the women's national team?
I'm not talking about rooting now. I'm talking about what do you think?
What do I think? I feel that Alex Morgan is a little bit overrated, and I'm saying this for the reason that she's had major problems finishing, and she's had more than enough opportunities. Abby Wambach, I like that they kind of took her out of the starting 11 and using her more sparingly. She is one World Cup goal away from tying Marta for the most in Women's World Cup history, which would be awesome for her because this is probably her last Women's World Cup. And that's I love, there was a great Landon Donovan, Abby Wambach not comparison, but like Landon Donovan tweets out how he thinks he's like, that's the type of veteran leadership you need, and Alexi Lalas is like, hence why. It's something about.
I remember because he kind of took a stab at Klinsmann because he said that even though Wambach wasn't starting, it's still inspirational to have a veteran there to help behind the scenes. And I think like that was the kind of saying like you should have took me to the last World Cup.
No, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. So it was only so big. Wambach can still contribute. Not that Donovan couldn't, but Wambach is definitely a threat when you get her in the box in the dying stages of the game. But one person who has to finish on this is Lloyd. She was inspirational again. No mistake in the penalty kick. Drilled it home and then assist for the second goal to put it out of sight. So
prediction.
What? I'm gonna go extra time 1-0 US Women's National Team. A goal in extra time.
I say 0-0, and I think it actually goes to penalties just because the U.S. women are having problems scoring in general.
Not a problem scoring penalties, though.
Well, that's true. So if they can find a way to dive in the box. Take lessons from Ari and Robin.
All right, but what do you guys think? An exciting tournament as a whole. We're looking forward to watching the final. I'm sure you guys are as well. What about your prediction? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe to TYT Sport.